Hi, Kate. And you just like sat there for 5 minutes. It was probably my internet. All right.
Oh, I responded instantly. I know my job.
So it's that, but yeah, I know it's internet. Okay. We can do this.
Hi.
Hi, Kate.
Good morning. How are you, darling?
I'm out of practice. We didn't do this last Friday, and I feel like
I know we were busy with me being all Percocetted up.
Oh yeah. That was so fun. It got even more fun when you added some more fun pain relieving items to your body. I don't know if you want to talk about that on the podcast.
That's fine.
I don't know what the laws are in Georgia.
I don't know. It was sold in Georgia, so I guess it's fine. I just mental note, maybe don't take a whole gummy before a nap. Maybe take a half a gummy.
I mean, Ray and I found it really entertaining. We really enjoyed it.
I know, you videotaped me.
Yes. And as long as you've seen the video and you're okay with it, that's going to be part of our bonus content.
Yay.
Yeah. Our belated June bonus content is going to come out in July because at the end of June, we were busy creating the content and having your uterus yeeted.
Ripped from my body.
And recovering from that procedure. So
still working on that part.
Yeah. So it's been about a week and a half since you got home from the hospital.
It's been a week and a day.
Yeah. You came home on a Wednesday.
Week and 2 days.
Week and 2 days. Yeah, that's much more accurate. Okay, so in that time, I don't even know if it's fair to ask you if you had your shit together, because just like recovering and healing is like all you should be doing right now. And I'm sure that since I left, you've been overdoing it. And I'm like trying to just be like, she's an adult and I'm not there anymore. I'm not going to check on her. She's fine. It's her body. And from the way you're sipping your coffee, I guess, did you have your shit together with healing your body this week, Kate?
Yes.
Okay, you're gonna have to unpack that for us, because that's very sheepish grin.
Oh yeah, you know me. I'm like, what's that little short drive to the herb shop? To get my supplements and a job
Not
interview.
supposed to be driving, right?
Yeah.
I think the term is, it's such a yucky term. It's pelvic rest.
Pelvic rest. See, I thought I'm not supposed to be driving because I would be naturally assumed to be on a narcotic pain reliever. And so you shouldn't drive when you're on a narcotic pain reliever, right? But I haven't been taking it. Advil's fine. And so I was like, that's fine. I'll just, So like Monday, I had Isaac take me to Sam's Club because we were out of some stuff. He didn't go inside with me or anything. So I got one of those electric carts. See, taking care of myself. I got in a cart and I did my shopping and I picked up his prescription. It was fine. And I was exhausted and needed like a long nap after that. Poodling along at Sam's Club. And I was like, I need a nap now. So
yes.
Yeah. Yes. I don't remember what I did on Tuesday. Maybe I was sensible. No, I had Ray take me somewhere. So again, I rode in the car. I didn't drive the car.
Right.
Wednesday, I did drive to the herb shop, and that's about a 15-minute drive. And by the time I got there, I was like, oh, driving uses your abdominal muscles.
Yeah. Okay.
But now I have a secure job there, and I had a Reiki session as well, and my supplements. So, win.
Well, that's, hey, if you have to go against medical orders, at least you did it for a good reason.
Yeah, I definitely overdid it. Yesterday was my first time doing magical witchy work for somebody who's not me. I created a spell for someone. I met with him I drove to him and met with him. And then I got home and I did a tarot reading. And then after that, I was like, and now I'm a vegetable for the rest of the evening. Yes, we shall be a vegetable. So I've been more active than maybe I need to be, but I have been napping, and that's a victory for me. So
that's good. That's good, because what did I tell you your body needs to heal?
Yeah.
Two things. Do you remember what they are?
No.
Rest and fluids.
Rest and fluids.
Yes, and I know you've got the fluids covered. Good job. And so I'm glad to hear you're still taking naps. Keep that up. At least you have your naps.
Well, I lay on my bed for a while anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, as long as you're horizontal, it counts. That's resting.
Semi-recumbent,
Yeah.
So yeah. That's how my shit is together this week. How about you? Becca, did you have your shit together this week?
I'm gonna say yes, because I came home to a dumpster fire of a house.
Oh no, what happened?
Well, it's my house, and I was away from it for weeks. So, I came to it with fresh eyes and particularly a fresh nose.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, and the trash that had been piling up before I left, Sam still hadn't taken it out, and there was more, and that was the main bad smell. So we had a little bit of it wasn't a fight, but I had to be very firm with him and very insistent, and basically stand there and say, no, you need to take it out right now. You need to take it out. No, don't go upstairs. Take it out right now. I shouldn't have to do that with a 19-year-old who pays room and board and only has one contribution to the household, which is take out the trash and take the trash to the dump. And I'm about to just sign up for trash service and give him a new one, because anyway, this is about my shit, not his. But I've been taking it small pieces at a time, because the drive home from Georgia on Sunday, it was pleasant. It was fine. I didn't get tired, but there was a lot of traffic. I kept hitting traffic jams the whole way home. So I went from getting home around 7. I kept watching the time. I was driving fine. I only stopped a couple times. I was eating in the car while I was driving my meals. I didn't stop for meals. I would have made good time, but I would hit these traffic jams, and I'd watch my arrival time get later and later and later. So I got home, I don't know, around 9:30 or something, and decided I have to work tomorrow. I'm not going to unpack. I'm just going to deal with the fact that the house stinks, and I'm about to make my bedroom really messy. And I just carried everything up to my bedroom, put it on the floor, and went to bed. And the next morning I woke up kind of stressed out. And here's where I had my shit together, because every night before, I would go upstairs at 9:30 to get ready for bed. And before I'd get ready for bed, I'd just take one thing and unpack it and put stuff away. And by yesterday, my room was so clean, I was vacuuming the floor. And I feel like I've just taken it a bite size at a time and gotten the house back under control. And it feels good that I didn't lose my shit over it and melt down and become paralyzed by the huge mountain of crap I had to deal with now that I'm back in Becca land and not in beautiful, clean, well-organized Kate land, which I loved so much. But no, seriously, I love your space. It's lived in. It's not like it's a model home that was staged to be sold. You know what I mean? It's lived in. You and your boys live there, but it's clean. You wipe down the counters every day. You wipe down the table after meals. These are things that I still don't know how to do, Kate. And when the trash is full, you tell Isaac to take it out, and you might have to tell him more than once, but he takes it out before there's new bags full of trash next to the trash can, because you got tired of waiting for him to take out the trash in the trash can, so you just started new bags. I mean, that's what happens here. That's how long it takes here.
Well, that's more about Isaac's obedience than anything else. But
that's about your parenting, your follow through, your consistency. You were consistent, and he knows it, and it's easier for him to just take it out than to forget, like Sam. Anyway, the one area I didn't.
I thought you meant my Sam for a minute. Me.
Oh, spaghetti, as we called him at your house, so that we wouldn't
spaghetti.
Sam whenever we talked about him. I don't know why I would call him.
Beck, I think you've done a phenomenal job this week, because it's so easy to get overwhelmed. It really, really is.
And that's the thing I was the most proud of, is that I just took it a little piece at a time. I didn't have to hyper focus, and I didn't have to freak out and not do anything. So that was good. But I'm very disappointed with my kale, because I was telling Frank before you joined how much I love the way you eat and how I was trying to emulate you, and I did a really crappy job. So I'll work on that again.
Practice makes perfect.
I guess so.
Kale is a weird thing. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out. You did such an amazing job taking care of me last week. you were so great. And I felt so safe.
Aw.
Yeah. There wasn't a single moment where I was like, oh, I wonder what I should do about that, and you're like, so when's the last time you took this? Okay, well then you can do, all right, now you should lay down. I'm like, okay. And I don't generally do well with being bossed around except by my sister. But you're one of those people who can boss me around. And I was like, no, this feels good. Okay. Thank you.
And the most amazing thing is, like, twice you called me Debbie Mello, and I deserved it both times. But when you called me Debbie Mello, it simultaneously put me in my place, and I didn't mind it. I didn't mind being my mom. I liked it.
You were being a courageous Debbie Mello. You're just coming in and bossing up and nursing, and and I was like, yes, ma'am. Okay.
So yeah, so that was one of the first times in my life that somebody compared me to my mom, and I took it like, it put me in my place, but I also took it as a compliment simultaneously.
I'm so glad.
Yeah. It was like, okay.
I'm not like thinking back, like, did I do it when I was stoned? Did I think that through? I don't know.
No, it was when I was like grilling you on acetaminophen versus ibuprofen.
Oh, okay. It wasn't like when I was like,
and when I was like,
gummy, woohoo!
And no, and it was like when I was like, can we please write it down on paper? And you were like, it's in my phone, Debbie Mello. And I was like, okay, you're an adult. When you took your medicine.
I've been keeping a very good track of it since then. Yeah.
And it really is a Debbie Mello thing to like, because she's a nurse and she wants a chart with the meds, right? And so
I will lose that piece of paper immediately. That's why I put it in my phone.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Well,
speaking of bossy people.
Yeah. Would you like to introduce this week's guest, Kate?
If I may. The illustrious, the magnificent, the amazing, the CEO of a global life coaching company called The Little Volcano. May I introduce the fashionista, the glorious witch, the goddess with the bodice, Rosie Volcano!
Rosie!
Hello, thank you so much.
Hi,
baby girl. Wow.
So, welcome, Rosie.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I love your rainbow wig and your face.
Who said it was a wig?
I would say, if anyone is listening on Spotify, you should probably hop on over to YouTube just to see Kate and Rosie and their matching rainbow vibes. They're serving up the serious rainbow vibes this week.
We did not plan this.
No, we
are those on your dress, Rosie? Are those animals? Are they cats?
I think it's like a combo of some flowers and lemons and maybe like a little bird or something,
Gotcha. Yeah. I still have that childish imagination where I see faces on everything. So Rosie, oh, hi, Sammy.
You can come in for a sec.
Hello,
you've been spotted.
Here's Sammy in his new body sock.
Come on in, buddy.
Sammy's my new spirit animal. I miss you, Sammy. You got to say hello because some people listen to this on Spotify and they can't see your face. Can you say hello, Sammy?
Hello. Becca got him this, Rose, and now he lives in it.
It's so cool. I love it.
So for people on Spotify, Sammy's in a body sock, and you should Google what that is if you have any kind of anxiety or sensory issues or autism spectrum disorder or ADHD. It's just a really fun thing that makes you feel put back together. All right, back to you, Rosie. Did you have your shit together this week?
Oh.
Yeah, that's such an interesting question for this week. I feel like there's been an equal amount of shit being together and not being together. So on one hand, I've been getting up every morning at 5 a.m. for the last month and doing 2 hours of yoga, which has been incredibly transformative and has helped me feel like I very much have my shit together because I'm up at 5 a.m. and then all of a sudden by 7:30, I'm like, I'm ready for the day. And then I have everything done by 8 or 9 a.m. But the downside of that is that I'm so excited to, just be getting things done before everyone else is starting their day. So I have the whole day to do whatever I want. I'm so excited for that I found myself, I kept trying to go to stores before they were open. So I'd be like, well, I'm up.
I'm ready to shop.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go get those groceries that I need to get. Oh, I'm just gonna go to the library and get some books for my toddler, and it's like the library doesn't open for like 3 hours. And so then I'd be driving around, like, trying to have my shit together and realizing like, actually nobody is up yet. Go back to sleep.
That's intense.
5 a.m. That's a little intense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's amazing though.
yeah. Well, the reason why is because, I trained as a yoga teacher in 2013, and the people I trained with were hosting a live training that started at 8 a.m. on the East Coast, which is 5 a.m. my time. And I was able to attend the morning sessions via Zoom. So I looked at it as a good, healthy challenge to help me get back in my body after a year of many things that have taken me out of my body. And it worked. It was great. Yeah.
Oh,
For
I
the
wanna hear
record,
more
when
about
Rosie
that.
says a healthy challenge for her, that's on a different scale than other human beings. Rosie likes to triple it, and then she's like, yes, that's appropriate. That'll make me feel pain. Let's go.
I hope that we get to hear more about what it means to be in your body after being out of your body, because I think that's something that I definitely need to look into. I was talking to a friend the other day about, why is it so hard for me to make healthy choices for myself? Why can I do great things for other people, but not for myself? And she said something about, well, Americans spend a lot of time not being in their body. So it's something that I've been thinking about too. But the main reason that we asked you here was to find out. And I love when we do sibling episodes, because we have Kate's episode and Kate has the same parents as you. So it's always fun to compare how birth order and time affects the answers to this question for two people who grew up in the same family, like when we heard from Frank and I. What is the message your parents gave you growing up? What did they raise you to believe it means to have your shit together? As an adult, what does it mean to you now to have your shit together? And do you have your shit together by either definition?
This is really fascinating because I have no idea what Katie said. I haven't heard Katie's response, and we grew up almost a decade apart. So Katie's the oldest. I'm the third of four. However, we did share a room since I was an infant, basically. And
my baby. My little baby.
Yeah, and I was Katie's pet sister, and she took me everywhere with
my
her.
live fairy.
You were like our little pixie.
Yeah.
Our little doll.
Yeah, and I loved it. I remember
Let's dress up like fairies and go to the library.
Yeah, I remember going to your house, Becca. I remember coming to your parties that you guys would have, and I'd be the only child there with a bunch of teenagers. And I loved it. It was great because you guys were wholesome teenagers. There was never anything weird going on. It was always just fun and innocent. And I was there anyway.
Wholesome is one word for it. I think we were nerdy teenagers.
It works.
We were this weird assortment of drama nerds, lit club nerds, band geeks, like
and a smattering of others.
Yeah.
Punk and jock thrown in there for variety.
Even the jocks were taking the AP classes with like the math and science nerds. We were the nerdy kids.
Is my internet cutting out, or is it Katie's?
I think it's Kate's. Because unless I'm freezing up, I think it's Kate's.
I don't see you freezing. I mean, there's the little blips, but I just want to make sure mine is not too choppy and crazy.
No, you're good. You're good. Hopefully Frank will be able to edit that out.
Yeah. Okay.
See if I can help it. Oh, silly.
Yeah, Frank says it's Kate's.
Okay, that might help. We'll find out.
Okay.
I'll wait till Katie comes back.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
There
right.
we go.
So all that being said, for me growing up with our parents, having your shit together was it wasn't necessarily something that was demonstrated by our parents in a lot of ways on my end. But there was definitely a desire for someone to have their shit together in our family. There's a very strong desire for it. So
There was an insistence that we should, not necessarily an example of how to bring that about.
funny that was your experience, because I never experienced that insistence. I always experienced this feeling of, I don't know, you figure it out.
Well, that was it too. Like, you should have your shit together, figure it out. Like,
No, I never even had the should. I just had to figure it out. It was like, I don't know what I'm doing. What do you think I should do? I mean, like, it was like, oh, you want to join an extracurricular activity? Well, then you can figure out how to get a ride there, because we live in the middle of nowhere and I'm not giving you a ride. So you will have to figure that out on your own, even though you're 11.
Wow.
Oh, big girl. At least when I was living at home, we were like in the city and I could take a bus everywhere.
You could
Yeah.
walk.
Yeah,
Right.
the high school was only three miles away, so it wasn't like a big.
Right.
See, isn't that funny that you would think that? I think that too. Like, if I missed the bus, my mom would say, well, walk to school then. And I would walk 3 miles to school. That's just what you had to do.
Yeah.
My kids, they wouldn't even walk down the street.
Oh, heck no. Well, and it's one thing to walk to school in Catonsville, Maryland, where there are sidewalks.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's another thing to walk to school when, we moved to the country when I was 11. So it was a few years after Katie had left home. And I was about, 5-6 miles from my middle school and high school. And in that place, there are no sidewalks. There are roads where you're walking in, a ditch, or in the road where people are driving 60 miles an hour and they're in pickup trucks with, rebel flags hanging off the back.
In all fairness,
like where I live now.
yeah, in all fairness, that is where my kids also grew up, not the same neighborhood, but that type of neighborhood. And in all fairness to River walked to work every day, whether it was 1 block away or walking in a ditch down the road.
Wow.
That cars drive 60 miles an hour on. They did that. So when I say my kids, I'm thinking of the 2 that still live with me. All props to River. River walked like Kate and I. And not like Kate and I, because River walked without sidewalks. So River is badass. But awesome. So when you were a kid and your parents didn't even cross their mind to consider what it means to have their shit together, did you look at other people's parents and sort of get a message from them instead?
Oh yeah, I adopted so many of my friends' mothers.
Mm-hmm.
My mother, and some of them had their shit together in various ways and not in others, so some of them would have their shit together in that they were emotionally present with their children and with their children's friends, and would sit and talk with them. Some of them had their shit together in the sense that they had a career that was any kind of a career that was like very inspiring to me to see a woman with a career. Some of them had their shit together because they had a beautiful home that was, not necessarily wealthy or anything like that, but just beautifully arranged and decorated, which is one of my passions. I love decorating my house. I love flipping furniture. I'm obsessed with thrifting.
She's amazing at it.
It's just, one of those things. And our mom always kept a tidy house, which was one of the ways that she did have her shit together. That was something that I learned from her that I unconsciously have taken into my adult life, is the ability to keep things organized, tidy, cleaned up on a regular basis. And I appreciate that gift from her. But she's never had a real, I would say, she doesn't have a passion for decorating her home or herself. She likes to keep things simple. And very, very bargain priced, which I love the bargain too, but I love a flashy bargain.
Yeah. You've gotten some great ones lately.
Yeah. Mom likes to keep things simple, and I appreciate that about her too. It's just not my style.
Can't relate to it either myself, but
yeah, we take after Lawanda in that sense. We take after our mother's mother, who liked all of the things all of the time.
All the colors, all the glitter, all the
ruffles, all the lace, all the gold lame, all the leopard print. The carpet, the full carpet with a rug on top, with the recliner, with all the throw pillows that all had the lace border and ruffles on them, and they were all color coordinated. And they all had matching silk flower arrangements all over the house, inside and outside, for every single holiday.
So it sounds like excellent style skips a generation, much like alcoholism.
Well, yeah.
I said that's pretty accurate. Although the alcoholism didn't necessarily skip a generation in our family. It was like, I guess because it was on one side, and like our dad and our mom's mom were kind of the alcoholics in our family.
Yeah, but like your mom was the
typical
untreated Al-Anon who's sought out alcoholic to marry. Yeah.
Yes. The classic codependent love dynamic that we've all
But it worked out eventually.
I can fix him, but Mom, I can fix him.
Oh yeah. No, not just him. I can fix everyone and everything all the time.
All the time.
I'm fine. My life would be great. It's just because of their problems that I'm stressed out and unhappy. If they would get their shit together, I'd be fine.
Exactly.
Nothing wrong with me.
Nope. Nothing.
I can handle all of it. Everybody's problems, I can handle it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
I know what that's like.
So what does it mean to you now that you're an adult? I mean, you touched on it a little bit, but what have you figured out for yourself is your own definition of having your shit together?
So this is hilarious. I knew my sister was doing a podcast with you for the last, 6 weeks or 2 months or maybe longer. She didn't really talk to me about it much, which I was very confused about because I'm doing my own podcast right now too. And it's so strange how things like that align for us all the time.
All the time.
But it's like I barely really knew about it. And finally, I asked you, Becca, because you were with her when she was getting her ute yeeted.
Yeah.
And I was like, send me the link to your podcast because I don't even know what it's called. I just know that Katie's been doing a podcast. I don't know what it's called either.
Change from day to day. I know it's like Kate and back together, shooting the shit, or getting your shit together, or there's shit happening, or it's
okay. Here's the deal. Kate and Beck Together is the name of our production company. Mm-hmm. Okay, we can do anything we want under Kate and Beck Together. The podcast that Kate and Beck Together produces is Do You Have Your Shit Together? And I'm sorry, I had to make an executive decision that we stick with that because even though you and Frank came up with awesome names for the podcast, there were already multiple, like double-digit podcasts out there with those names. And no one has a name like Do You Have Your Shit Together, mainly because it's so long and probably, hard to type out into social media posts. So maybe it's a mistake, but at least when you Google Do You Have Your Shit Together podcast, we are the only result.
So you texted me the link to the podcast and I just went, because I've been running a coaching business for the last 5 years where the main thing that we do 3 times a year, that is this massive thing that it's like the main way that our business actually makes money even is called the Get Your Shit Together Challenge, where we teach people how to get their shit together.
I love that.
Is that great though?
And we actually had to change the name at some point to Get Yourself Together Challenge because you can't run ads to get your shit together, unfortunately, but we still call it that. Everyone behind the scenes still calls it that. Our clients still call it that, even though it doesn't say that on the website anymore. Everyone still calls it that. And 3 times a year, we have this online coaching challenge. It's a week long. And every time we do it, there's about 500 people that join from all over the world. And during the course of the week, we share stories and personal development techniques, and or you could call it maybe spiritual growth or spiritual awareness building exercises, where, like I mentioned earlier, we actually help people awaken this new awareness to themselves, come back into their bodies, be more present with their thoughts and their emotions, and help them decipher what's the difference between an emotional addiction or an emotional story or pattern that you inherited, or that was based on trauma but isn't serving you anymore. What's the difference between those things, those reactions, those things that actually take us to places we don't want to go? What's the difference between those and what our conscious mind actually wants us to be doing, thinking, feeling, saying in our lives? And when you can start to differentiate those two voices in your head and heal and integrate the one that is based in trauma, or that is, trying to protect you in some way, that codependent side of all of us who grew up with alcoholic parents and whatnot. When you can start to build awareness around that, and you can figure out moment to moment, oh, is this my childhood wound talking right now? Or is this my wiser self talking right now? Then you can begin to make better decisions for your life. You can start to set goals and actually achieve them. You can create things you never had the confidence to create before because you had that little voice piping up saying like, oh, but your dad started his own business and he failed, so you're probably going to fail too. You learn how to just take that voice and love it deeply, and then do the freaking thing that you want to do with your life.
Wow, I love that. That reminds me of when we were growing up, we'd always see characters with a devil and an angel on their shoulder, right? And now that I'm sober, I always think of drunk Becca pre-AA on this shoulder and sober Becca on this shoulder. Those are the two voices I hear now, because the alcoholism it's a disease. It will forever be in my brain. But sober Becca can tell drunk Becca, no, we're not going to make the choice that way this time. We're going to make a choice that's a little better for everyone involved this time. We're not that self-centered anymore. Thanks for sharing though. And keep coming back, like we say in AA meetings. And I love that you have that also for people who don't have alcoholism, but have trauma talking to them instead. And how wonderful it is that we can change it from a devil to our hurt child self. Because when it's a devil, it feels like it's sinful and wrong, but it's not. It's more compassionate to think of it as you're that sad, scared child. And over here is your adult self that's trying to move towards being self-actualized. And I don't know, that seems better than the devil and the angel imagery. I love that.
That imagery changed my entire life, because of course I've been life coached by my sister a lot. So this coaching successfully. This coaching sounds amazing, and I'm sure our listeners are going to be interested. How can they find out more about this? Do you have a website you can share with us, or social media or something? How can they get in touch with you if they're interested?
Well, we do the challenge live 3 times a year, and the website for the challenge is getyourselftogetherchallenge.com.
Mm-hmm.
But you can find us all over social media, Instagram, Facebook at The Little Volcano. That's the name of our coaching business. And we have a free Facebook group called the Volcano Love Tribe. So that's a great place to join the community, to stay tapped into the free offerings that we do pretty regularly and all the other little things that we do. We announce it in there, we give things away in there, and it's a place for people to come together and talk about the work in between those challenges. We also have bigger coaching programs people can join. You can join and learn how to become a coach through us. You can join a kind of a bigger, more intensive coaching group that's more personal work. And so that's the best place to start is Volcano Love Tribe. So you can kind of get a taste for the people, right? It's doing this stuff. You have to find a place where you feel not just accepted, but actually celebrated for your differences, not where you fit in, but where it's you feel celebrated for who you are. And our community is a place where I believe that happens for everybody in it, but it's not for everybody, right? You see a rainbow wig and tattoos, and a lot of the people in our community are queer and that kind of thing. So obviously there's going to be some people who dip their toes in and say, not for me. That's
khaki in my life, and that's okay.
But if it sounds like something that resonates with you, go ahead and dip in and see what you think about it and stick around for a little while and you might be surprised.
I love that. That's great. So do you
Changing lives all over the world?
so another way of asking, do you have your shit together by your adult definition would be, do you live what you preach?
Exactly.
And do you find it easy to integrate what you coach people on into your own life today, and what factors affect that?
Yeah. So that's one of the ways that choosing this career path has created an extremely high level of accountability in my life, but also kind of a high level of pressure, because when you're a leader in a community like this, you can't not do the work. You can't just show up and do your job, no matter what's going on for you emotionally. You have to show up and do the spiritual work, do the emotional work that you are teaching other people to do in their own lives. You have to, you can't not do it. And so that has been a huge challenge in the last year, because on top of everything going on with pandemics and everything over the last couple of years, Katie and I also almost lost our father and our mother in the last 6 months.
They can't take turns.
No, they had to go at once. They shared a rehab room together. It was beautiful. But our dad actually almost died in January and has been mysteriously paralyzed ever since then. 6 months later, they still can't figure out why. And that's been a journey. We said goodbye to him in January, and then he miraculously pulled through and lived. And then our mother had a massive heart attack a couple months later. On top of all of that, my partner Kit is trans, and so we wanted to harvest some of his eggs in case we want to have another child sometime. And we went through that whole process in January before our dad almost died on us. So while this was all happening, my partner was on all these IVF drugs, and then
which is disruptive enough when you are a cisgender female.
Yes.
Injecting hormones into your body, but when you add to that the dysphoria that comes with being a trans man and the way hormones affect your body, I can't imagine that was a picnic for you.
Yeah. And so a week after I got back from saying goodbye to our dad, I had to take my husband to Mexico. We're in San Diego, so it's right across the border, but a lot of people go there to do medical procedures you save a lot of money, right? But what's the cost of that really? Well, he didn't get any eggs, and they gave us very little explanation to as why. All we knew is that we were out $5,000 and we had no eggs. And so like the dream of having another child that was his biologically was also, so all of this stuff is happening this year. On top of all of this stuff, there's been some custody issues with our other son and his other parents. And so all of this kind of together has, like I mentioned earlier, I felt my spirit kind of leaving my body. I felt my ability to stay present with my feelings slip away. And when that happens, this happens for many people, and this is part of what we teach. But for me personally, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate, I find myself lacking the ability to make conscious decisions about what I eat, what I put in my body, what I get at the grocery store, whether I'm exercising or not, binge watching TV, the ability to turn it off after one show or the ability to stop scrolling on your phone. So your compulsive coping mechanisms start to take over because your body's in survival mode. Your nervous system is in survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
And the stress hormones are so high.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to find a space of allowing myself to have this period of time because coping is healthy, it's there to help you survive, and there's a time and a place for it. And I was trying to find this balance of, okay, at what point does this crap in my life end so I can start to focus on spiritual growth and health and making healthy choices and again, right? At what point do I find that and demonstrate that to my entire community of, hey, yeah, I'm in a phase right now where there's a lot going on and I'm allowing myself this time to cope. My addiction is fantasy novels. I will read the same freaking fantasy novels over and over and over again, over and over and over again.
Which
Yeah,
ones?
exactly.
Which ones? Give us an example of one.
The entire Game of Thrones series, the entire Outlander series, all of Harry Potter. Those are my three main.
Lord of the Rings.
Oh, Lord of the Rings, duh.
Of course, that's a given. That's a given.
That was my first love, but yeah, and so I've read all of those this year already. And so yeah, it's like you have to walk your talk, and you have to acknowledge and be willing to share with your community that you are human and that it is okay to let yourself avoid things for a while in order to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also okay to make a decision to say, okay, I'm done with survival. I am ready to dive in again. I'm ready to be vulnerable again. I'm ready to actually feel my feelings because it's been enough time now. And so for the last month, I've been letting myself feel my feelings, and it's uncomfortable, but it's something I know that I need to process in order for me to come back into my body and be present with myself again.
What is one simple, easy example of how you move from coping to feeling your feelings that people could put into practice, or that you go to? Like, do you start by just sitting quietly for 5 minutes in the morning, or like, how do you move from just coping to trying to feel your feelings?
Yeah. So this is really interesting. I love that you asked this. I've been helping our mom with this a lot lately because classic, like we talked about, codependent, Al-Anon, et cetera, our mom has been the queen of not feeling her feelings.
Yeah.
So we never learned that from her. Her feelings were very reactive. They're all based in that, wounded child place. But over the last 5 years, she's definitely been open to learning what I offer her. And, with permission, I ask her permission, can I offer you this thing that might help you a little bit? And she's very open to it, which is great.
Yeah.
One of her biggest ways of avoiding feelings used to be smoking cigarettes. Anytime there was something coming up that she didn't want to feel, immediately, mid-conversation, mid-sentence, she'd just stand up and walk outside and smoke a cigarette.
I gotta go have a smoke.
Any little feeling, slight discomfort, go have a cigarette, right? And so that was her coping mechanism, obviously very unhealthy one. And after a massive heart attack, the doctor was like, yeah, you should probably just, stop smoking now. Okay. And she's been committed to that, to stopping smoking, which is beautiful. However, there is a huge gap in her life now because she's lacking that instant coping tool. And so she was getting very, very, very worked up very easily without having anywhere to put that energy, not knowing what to do with it. No, I don't want to feel this, but I don't have a cigarette. What do I do?
She could shove food down her throat like I did when I gave up smoking.
That has been one method that she's using. However, I asked her permission. Hey, Mom, can I share something with you that might help you allow yourself to feel better in those moments? And she was like, yeah, of course. And I was like, go out to the place where you normally smoke your cigarettes. That's her happy place. She watches her bird feeders and, it's on her back porch. And she said, okay. And I walked her through the most simple breathing exercise that there is, which is box breath, which is
love box breathing.
Inhaling for, usually a count of 4, maybe a count of 5, inhaling, holding for a count of 4, exhaling for a count of 4. If you want to make it a full box, you stay empty for a count of 4. However, you don't want to, if you're a certain type of person, you don't want to stay empty. So if you have breathing problems, like you're getting over COVID or you've had pneumonia or you're pregnant, don't hold the breath. Just do the 3, the inhale, hold, exhale.
Triangle.
Yeah. And what that does, you want to make sure also bringing a hand on the belly, you want to make sure that you're bringing your breath into your belly specifically, and not just your chest. And what that does is it starts to stimulate your diaphragm. So if you feel your breath moving in your belly, you feel your belly pressing out with your breath, you're stimulating your diaphragm, which is the muscle between your lungs and your abdominal cavity. And attached to the diaphragm is the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve, vagus means wanderer. It's the longest nerve in the body. It goes directly from your diaphragm all the way up to your brain. And when you stimulate the vagus nerve, it instantly brings your body from a sympathetic fight or flight nervous system response into a parasympathetic rest and relax nervous system response. So just the simple act of breathing for even just 1 minute, even just 3 deep breaths into your belly can help bring your prefrontal cortex back online, which is what gives you the ability to make conscious decisions about things instead of just unconsciously, whatever, reading, smoking, eating, all of the things. That's all coming from the fight or flight nervous system response.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm fascinated by biology and anatomy and neuroscience and stuff. I love it.
Fascinating science. It's funny to be, I've had this said to me a couple of times now. It applies to both of us, Rose. We're both the most woo-woo witchy people ever, but we also love the science. I love how it works together.
And it's because we both started as skeptics, right? I think both of us definitely have a skeptical nature to us because I look at Dad's a huge skeptic. He doesn't trust anything.
Nothing.
I think Mom's very gullible. She will believe anything. And so I have a very beautiful, both of us have a beautiful combination of the two.
It's where aliens. Oh, Mom.
We're totally willing to believe in quantum realities and timelines and dimensions and past life experience. We're like 100% willing to believe that. And also, if you can back it up with neurobiology, it's like, oh, great. Well, that soothes the inner skeptic there.
We need both of them soothed.
Well, magic, witchy stuff, woo-woo, that's just science that hasn't been discovered yet.
Exactly. That's what I think.
Yeah. So why wait for the scientists to catch up to what you already know? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you have any other questions, Kate?
all the time. But I can also, this is irrelevant.
Okay.
But it is fun. My sister and I
is our brand, so go for it.
Rosie and I have a special way of greeting each other when we get on the phone.
Yes, I've heard of this. Can you demonstrate it for me? I've never experienced it live.
It usually begins with a hello. Hello.
That's beautiful. That's a great sister greeting. I love it.
Aunties have a similar greeting that they give. Well, it doesn't sound the same, but our aunties, dad's sisters, they definitely have their own sort of.
They sound like opera singers warming up backstage or something.
Yes, yes they do.
They all should have been opera singers. None of them were opera singers, but they all should have been.
Yeah, all are magnificent singers. So it's always funny when we would get together when we were younger for like Christmas and whatever, and it's never just silent, you know. It's like, you know, just it's a lot of volume. So much. So great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we all have very large rib cages, so that helps with the volume.
And
you
the
could
body
fit a
breathing
5-year-old inside mine easily.
But not the air that they pumped you full of last week for your.
Oh my God, that was the worst.
Yeah. We don't talk enough as women about what our bodies go through with the different things that happen to us while we're alive. So let's just put it out there right now. If you need a hysterectomy, the worst part of it is going to be that they are going to pump your body full of air so that the robot can see what it's doing while it's inside of you. And the painkillers that they give you are not going to touch that pain.
Not at all.
Will touch
Not
that
even
pain.
a little bit. not even a little bit.
And it will travel up to your shoulders, and I would imagine feel like a heart attack before it's finally out of your body. And it's scary and it's painful and it's awful. And all you can do is just deal with it for 48 hours. And I guess I've heard this isn't just hysterectomies. This is any laparoscopic procedure in your torso.
Yeah, I do think they try to suck the gas back out, but they didn't get all of it. And from what I read on Google, is that the gas like would put pressure on the nerve that goes up to your shoulder. And so and I could hear it and feel it gurgling as I tried to like turn to one side or another. But once it hits that nerve, you just die. You just scream a little bit. You're good. It'll pass.
Yeah. That was the worst part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
The best part though was that Rosie organized a nice meal train for us, so I didn't have to cook for you, because let me tell you, I don't think I'm ever going to get my shit together with cooking. It's just not in the cards for me.
It might not be your gift, and that's okay, but it might be, and you just haven't discovered it yet.
I just am going to make enough money that I can always pay people to cook for me. That's my plan. I'm going to stick to it.
Support you on
Well, I could talk to you all day, Rosie. I've learned so many great things from you. And listeners, if you have any interest, go to that site.
The Little Volcano.
And Frank will put the information here. We'll make sure to get it into the show notes. And if you'd like to share with us your techniques for getting back into your body, email us at kateandbecktogether@gmail.com. And that is Kate, Kate, the letter N, Beck, BEK, together@gmail.com. And don't forget to do all those things that help our algorithm get better. Yes, like, subscribe, share, rate, review, tell your friends,
Comment.
Fire. Yeah. So until next week, keep your shit together.
Keep your shit together.